Hey guys, this is Max Headspace 9mm, and there's a lot to know about storing ammo. If you've got ammo, congratulations, you need to take care of it. And there's a lot of things that you need to know to store it safely and to store it effectively. And that takes a little bit of time to learn, and I've been doing it for a while, so I'm here to show you what I've learned, and maybe some of it will help you. Now, I did a video about 2 years ago with a friend of mine called Ammo is an Investment. If you haven't seen that video, it's very informative and kind of fun. And 2 years ago, I predicted that an ammo shortage would be coming. Back then, ammo was cheap and easy to get and everywhere. I was buying 50 round boxes of 9mm for $7. And that wasn't hard to find. That wasn't unusual. Well, now, if you can find it at all, it's 3, 4, 5 times that. So it makes a lot of sense when it's cheap to pick it up. And right now, even reloading supplies are in short supply. You can't even find those anywhere. Well, that's because the ammo manufacturers, instead of selling those components, are using them themselves. So ammo is being manufactured, it's just that there is too much demand for it. I've got another video I'm going to do about that subject. This is specifically about storing ammo carefully, effectively, and wisely. So there's a lot of different things you need to know about ammo storage. I've got some clever solutions that I want to show you in an upcoming video. This is just simple, practical, easy to get started solutions. Now, I've got a couple of different ammo boxes here. Mainly that's what I want to talk about today. Ammo is best stored if you want it on hand and easy to carry around in a metal ammo box. Now, you've probably seen the plastic variants of these. A lot of gun stores will have a metal version like this that's the military style. And some of these are actually military surplus boxes. Some of them are new. The people that make these sell them to civilians as well as the military, as well as a lot of other things. So if you get the military version, they have been decommissioned. So be very careful, and I'll show you how to look for a good used ammo box. But the new ones aren't much more expensive than the surplus ones, so if you can, spend an extra $1 or $2, get a new one. Now, the plastic versions of these are pretty much worthless. I would never recommend you buy plastic ammo boxes like this. They're usually green. They usually look just like this, except they're plastic. And they have a rubber seal around the top, inside the lid, just like these do. But again, they're worthless. They're okay if you want to put ammo in it and basically keep rainwater off. But the problem is they have a handle in the top, and if you pick them up by that handle, they flex and they lose their seal. If you're going to keep your ammo in a box that loses its seal, there's no point in even having a rubber seal in the first place. And there's all kinds of containers that you could put the ammo in if that's all you want, is just to contain it. But the reason why the metal boxes were designed and used by the military and why they're so good is they're stackable. They're sized perfectly for most common boxes of ammo that you buy, so they fit in there with very little wasted space. And the fact that they're metal protects the ammunition from fire. Now, most of the time when you store ammo in a box like this, you want to store it, well, I'll get into the places where you can store it later. Let's just concentrate on what we have here. Now, I've got 2 different sizes. The bigger size is by far the best value. For something like this, brand new, you're going to pay around $15, $16. And you can buy these in gun shops. Sometimes they even have them in hardware stores. If you get a used one, a decommissioned Army surplus one, you're still going to be paying $12 or $14 for it. So, the problem with the used ones is, well, let me just show you. Okay, now here's what you got to know. There's this right here. There's a latch on the front, okay? this pops up, it hooks into this right here, and it cams down under a lot of pressure, and that camming pressure compresses a rubber ring inside of this lid. So when you open that up, it still stays closed. What's the matter with that? Well, that's because there's a vacuum seal here. The vacuum seal is what you want. This shows you that this is a good can. It's getting a seal. It's important that you get a good vacuum seal. And that is why this little ring is down here. So you can pull these apart, and it's actually suction you have to overcome, okay? Now, one thing a lot of people don't realize is you can push the lid to the side, and these pins back here are what holds it on. So you can take the lid completely off. But if you look in here, there's a rubber gasket all the way around the inside of this. Nice, soft rubber gasket. It's really squishy, and that's what you want. When you look at this, you want to be able to see a continuous groove in that rubber gasket. Now, that wasn't there when this was first put in. It was pressed into here. That was created by pressure of the rim of this can constantly pushing into that rubber. And the rubber has a memory. And what happens to rubber over time is it gets brittle and harder. And so the old cans, this rubber is no good anymore because it's turned into a really hard kind of rubber, almost like plastic. And so you don't get a good seal on it anymore. So you want nice, supple rubber gasketry in your lid of your ammo can. So make sure it's pliable, make sure that groove is nice and continuous, and that the rubber is giving you a good seal on your ammo can. And then you can just put the lid back on those pins in the back and close it up. Now what I like to do, that's a good can, I like that, is I'll take some tape and I'll just write what ammo I have inside of there. It's a lot easier than having to open it up and see for yourself what you've got in there. I put one kind of ammo in a can. That didn't start out that way. At first, I just, whatever I had, I put in cans. But as I got to collecting and I had more and more ammo, I started to make sure each can had its own type of ammo so that I could keep track of how much I had. A can this size will hold anywhere from about 800 rounds to maybe as much as 1,200 rounds. Depends on the ammo you're storing. Pistol ammo is not quite as big as rifle ammo. And then there's even smaller, like 22, like these 5.7. These are small. Not small as 22, but they're small. This is 50 rounds right here. 50 rounds of 22 is even smaller than that. So they vary how many you can keep in these. But these little cans are nice. They're easy to carry. I like them, but I have far more of the big ones because they're just a better value and you could put more in there. There is one size even bigger than either of these. It's about twice the size of this. And I don't like those. They're not very practical for most things. When you fill them up with ammo, it is so heavy. This right here is not even full, and it's probably 15, 16 pounds. If this was full to capacity, it would be over 20 pounds. And so it's a little heavy to carry. It's not impossible, but you got one of these in each hand. You know, the great big ones, they're just too heavy. They're great for storing, like, you could put magazines in them, you could put firearms in them, small, like pistols. Or you could put shotgun ammo. Shotgun ammo is much larger, and it's lighter weight. So yeah, that would be a good use for those bigger cans. You could use those for your shotgun ammo. Absolutely. Okay, so the used surplus boxes, a lot of times you'll be able to tell that they're used by looking at the bottom. When they repaint these, they usually just paint them sitting on a bench or something like that, and they don't bother to paint the bottom. So you'll be able to see the bottom is a little rusty, it's kind of scraped up. And then you open the lid and you'll be able to see that that rubber gasket is a little bit less pliable, it's a little older. And if you don't have that suction and you have to jerk the thing apart, then you realize also that it's probably an older can that's not working so well. I would not buy an ammo can that didn't seal well. It's kind of a waste of time. So when you close these up, if you got a good seal, you're going to seal in moisture. The best time to close up an ammo can for long-term storage is in the summertime when the air is dry. So if you do happen to close up an ammo can in the wintertime, when the air is moist and cold and dense, you're sealing in that moist, cold air. As the temperature rises, let's just say you're keeping this in an unconditioned space, as most people do, maybe in an outbuilding or garage or barn or something like that. And the temperature gets warmer, you've locked that moisture inside of this can, it's going to condense. And so you've created a moisture trap. It's trapped inside of here and it's going to act on your ammunition. Long term, that's a bad thing. So if you have to close up your ammo can in the winter time, open it again in the summer in the hottest months and let it air out for a day, and then seal it in the summer. You will get much better longevity from your ammunition that way. Because if the seal is in good shape and you seal it up in the warmest, driest part of summer, this should last you for several generations and still fire, as long as it's not opened and as long as it isn't jostled or moved around too much. So another thing is the fire protection. The reason why I like metal ammo cans is that in the event of a fire, they will withstand more heat than a plastic box or any other kind of box you might be keeping your ammo in. It's not going to stand a lot of heat. I mean, some house fires get up over 3,000 degrees. It's extremely hot. A structural fire of a wood structure. That's why I kind of recommend you keep your ammo in an outbuilding. Keeping it in the house is really kind of dangerous, to be honest with you. In the event of a fire, house fires are very hot and ammo can ignite. In an outbuilding, say a block building or a concrete building, something with a concrete floor, maybe a metal building, the chance of combustibles being in there, starting a fire, is much lower. And not only that, but if it does start a fire, it probably won't burn as hot. And not only that, but it's not going to be where you are, so you're not in as much danger as you would be if it were in the house with you. So one last thing to consider is, when you buy ammo and you're considering storing it long term, you want to think about some way of cataloging what you have. Keep it at a safe somewhere, a little ledger you've got of where the boxes are, what they have in them, how many rounds, and so forth. Because the last thing in the world you need is to forget what you've got. You might wind up buying the same ammo over and over and over again and have a lot of one thing and not enough of another. So make sure you keep a balance sheet that shows you what you actually have on hand. Ammo is fantastic. The reason why we keep a lot of it on hand is because we've been through this a few times before. Ammo is constantly either feast or famine. Either it's cheap and plentiful, or it is nowhere to be found like it is right now. And so when you have plenty of ammo, times like this don't bother you. And that's a good feeling to have. Preppers prepare for something. And when you've lived long enough, like I have, you know that things have their season, and there's a good time to buy and a bad time to buy. Now is a bad time to buy. Now, will it come back? I don't know. I really don't know. It's funny, you know, when I listen to the news and somebody's arrested for who knows what, they always mention, oh, and he had 500 rounds of ammunition in his house and 2 firearms or what have you. And it's like, it's always part of the story. People are being programmed that people who keep large volumes of ammo on hand or extra guns are somehow worse criminals, when even if what it was they were arrested for was not a gun crime. So I think we're kind of being programmed to look at certain kinds of guns as being basically evil, and the people that own them as being having bad intentions. So watch out for that. We're seeing that more and more. Now, I have a few ideas for some other videos that are really kind of interesting. Long-term storage of other things. The next video I want to produce has to do with creating a time capsule for yourself. Basically hiding what you have for the future. And there's some very handy tips in there that are extremely helpful, and they work. So be looking for that coming up. And in the meanwhile, this is Max Headspace 9mm. Have a good one.